Hi, parents. How are you? It is Tuesday. I'm talking about writing this week. Had a little technical difficulties yesterday. It took like a rocket scientist to figure out how to solve my technical issues. Basically, turn off the phone, turn it back on. Anyway, only 2 days and a weekend to figure that out. Sorry about that. I am continuing my work with Mark Brackett, Permission to Feel. And today, I really wanted to unpack what are the difference between certain feelings, and then help kids, really get a sense of those differences, but also the idea of like you're feeling these and you're feeling them for a reason. You're having these feelings and you're feeling it for a reason. So um, kind of like thinking through with their writing, but also this idea of acceptance and understanding that. So a lot of defining and imagining situations. What is the difference between anger and disappointment, and being able to identify those two things? And I think, as I was sharing this, and Mark's work is really, I feel like is a really important thing to discuss now in this time, during what's happening to all of us, and how we are sort of, our whole lives are turned upside down because of what's happening. um, I think that he's really teaching me a lot about that idea of paying attention to feelings and the importance of that. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties again. Not sure what it's about, but and so as I was talking to kids, I was really your kids. I was really thinking about you know when you understand why you're angry, you I think it gives you this sort of, it empowers you in a sense to say like, okay, I actually have a right to feel angry about this. I think so often we judge ourselves to say, stop, put away your feelings, you shouldn't be angry about this. But when I was sharing this today with kids, it felt really good to say like, you get angry when you feel you've been wronged, you know, or and so when are times when there's an injustice, that's when you feel angry. And so if you're teased or you're bullied, you're angry, and it's understandable. That's where that emotion comes from. So to say to kids, it's okay to feel these things. It's okay to have these feelings. Let's think a little bit about, though, what are the difference between the feelings, and kind of pay attention to those. And so, sorry about that. My phone's not working again, so I'm gonna stop this. So I talked to them a little bit about, then when you're disappointed, that's a very different feeling than anger. And disappointment has everything to do with like expectations, and when your expectations are sort of shattered. And so then you have this feeling of like, ugh, bummed out. It's like you thought something was going to happen and then it didn't happen, and then you're like, oh yeah. And if you can see the difference between the two and kind of recognize it, I think a couple things happen. One is when you say like, yeah, I'm disappointed, it feels like you haven't gotten to that. Even when I was talking to kids, I really talked to them a lot about um, the idea that disappointment, when you look on the grid, sorry about this, but when you look on the grid, disappointment is in the low energy and anger is in the high energy. So, even to say like, are you really angry about this, or are you disappointed? And sometimes that can help sort of shift that emotion a little bit for kids, so that, they're not acting out in ways that represent anger. So to identify it, look at it, say, okay, I'm disappointed. I'm allowed to be disappointed that the beaches are closed in Florida. I'm visiting Florida, and I never not didn't I, this is, I have family in Florida, and I come here often, and I always go to the beach after I visit with my family. But I don't want to live in this feeling of anger and rage, because that is not an injustice to me. So it can also kind of help us sort of regulate our feelings when we understand like what we're feeling, why we're feeling those things. And then I also shared with your writers, like, one thing to be thinking about is like those moments when those feelings pop up. And when we're writing a moment, here are some things that are essential when we write a small moment. We want to make sure that we add small action. We want to make sure that we're adding what people are saying, and we want to make sure we add where you are, the setting. So, parents, when you're working with your kids, I think the biggest thing that I've really been learning from Mark is really helping kids identify what is their feeling and why are they feeling that. And I think that can help them so much. And so having those conversations of defining those for them, because they don't know. And sometimes I think, for people, before, if we don't know what we're truly feeling, sometimes we get to those high energy feelings, especially on the downside, sooner than we need to, because we're really not feeling that. And if we recognize we're feeling sooner, those feelings may not escalate to those really tough places. Anyway, thank you for all you do, parents. I hope you're well this week. I hope you're having a good week. I hope the weather is great wherever you are and that you're safe. And thanks for everything. Take care.